Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to One Piece, episodes 954 to 957. And today we are going to be closing out Act 2 of Wano, because that ends on episode 956. So Act 2 has been really good, a different take from Act 1. Definitely has done some different things, but also continued the story naturally and really introduced some great new stuff. So I'm very, very happy with what we got. And as for how this is going to end with these first 3 episodes of today's reaction, I assume that our big closing for this arc is going to be this fight that's going on between Kaido and Big Mom. Because there's not really anything else big happening with our other members, the other members of our cast at the moment. Luffy and them at the prison camp, they've liberated it. Everything is good there. There's really no conflict or confrontation left with that storyline. The samurai are starting to get things together with the plan, getting the boats ready and everything. We have Hiyori reuniting with Kawamatsu, I think his name is. Something like that. But they're reuniting, and the monk has seen Kawamatsu as well and is moved by his return. So it's like our main heroes and everything is kind of like just wrapped up already. Everything's just kind of come together. Really, the only thing we have left with this is the fight between Kaido and Big Mom, which we saw part of before, but never really saw the conclusion to. So this is going to go, I feel, in one of a couple ways. Either one, they're going to fight to a stalemate and eventually decide to work together. Two, one of them will beat the other, and if I had to guess, it would probably be Kaido beating Big Mom. Just being honest. One of them will beat the other, and at that point, they'll probably talk things through and end up working together. And the third option is one of them beats the other, and they refuse to work together, and Big Mom heads out to kind of do things on her own. And Kaido like warns her, like, don't fuck with things or I'll take you down or something like that. You get the idea. The most likely, I'm thinking, is that they are going to work together. Because I just don't see how long they could prolong the entire thing about them, like, going at each other and everything. So I feel like they're going to. And in the case, I think one of them's going to win. I don't think it's going to just be a complete stalemate. I think one of them's going to win, but I don't think it's going to be like a huge win. I think one of them's just going to kind of get the upper hand. And that it's going to be... one of them's going to get the upper hand, and then they're going to start to talk and everything. And again, I'm still kind of leaning towards it being Kaido. Because from everything we've kind of been told and seen and everything, I think Kaido is stronger than Big Mom. Not by a lot, but I do think he is. And I also think that Blackbeard and Shanks are stronger than either of them. For the Yonko, I mean. But we'll see. We'll see. So otherwise, I don't know how this is going to end. And I also mentioned, like, because there's still the plan and everything, that's only, like, what, a couple days away? Like, yeah, I'm thinking at this point they're probably going to wait to do that until the beginning of Act 3. Because I just don't see them, like, getting to that and, like, having a satisfactory closure to the arc with that. within only 3 episodes. It's a lot to get to, especially again with the big fight going on that they would also have to wrap up. It just seems like it would be a lot to kind of try to wrap up in that short of a time. Maybe that's just me though. We'll see. We'll see. So, like I said, we're going to be finishing off Act 2 today, and we're going one episode into Act 3 just because of our, 4 episode reaction structure. We do 4 episodes a week, so yeah, Act 2 ends kind of in the middle there. um, but that's fine. That's fine. So Act 1 focused on like the introduction of everything, introduction of the plot points and the land of Wano and everything. Act 2 focused on kind of, now that we're introduced to everything, expanding upon it all, as well as really getting into the, I guess you could say, depths of Wano, like really understanding like the emotions and the ideas and everything that goes into Wano, and just really starting to set up the villains as being more than just frightening in terms of power, setting them up as more frightening in terms of their actions, in terms of their evil, especially with Orochi. So I'm wondering what Act 3 is going to be. Because we've already got pretty much all the setup out of the way. We've got a lot of the building blocks towards the future on how Luffy's going to be able to fight Kaido going forward using the Ryuo Haki. So, what's going to be next? There's a lot of plot points, of course, that they still have to continue on with. But like, what is the third act going to focus on? Is what I'm wondering. I guess we'll find out. So, let's just get this going. See what the end of Act 2 and the very beginning of Act 3 has in store. And for now, yeah, I'm excited. And I almost ended this as if it was the ending of the video. um, Either way, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I want to touch on a couple specific things real quick. First off, the Sabo news. Something has happened to Sabo. We don't know what, but the way they're playing it kind of makes it feel like at least he's being supposedly seen as dead. The way they're playing it makes it sound like he's dead. But I really doubt that's the case for a number of reasons. One, they already kind of pulled that, and I really doubt they're going to pull that again, and definitely they're not going to have him die off screen. If he is going to die again, it's going to happen on screen, and it's going to be like a big deal like Ace's death was. But I also don't think they would repeat that. I just don't think they would repeat that kind of situation with Sabo like they did with Ace. So I just really don't believe it. I think it's probably either they're lying about that and they've captured Sabo and whatnot. They're lying about his death or whatnot. And the other option, I don't know. I just can't see it being anything else, honestly. They have to be lying about it because, again, there's no way that's the case. Because that would be like just such a really poor way to send him off, to show it off screen and everything. But the second thing I really want to bring up here is they hinted that something happened with the Kingdom of Alabasta after the Reverie. And we found out that Alabasta, that King Cobra, along with King Riku of Dressrosa, had both advocated and convinced the other kingdoms to vote majority to abolish the Seven Warlords system. What happened with Alabasta afterwards, though? It never tells us. All it says is that something happened, and it's kind of implied to be something big. And even we see Shirahoshi is worried about Vivi, and again, kind of the same thing with Sabo. I doubt they would kill off Vivi, but maybe they would kill off Cobra. But again, doing it off screen would seem like a bad idea. So maybe there's something else going on here. I don't know. I don't think we're going to find out any more info until probably between acts 3 and 4, if there is an act 4. I assume there's going to be, because I believe the Kabuki structure has like 4 or 5 acts in it usually, which is what the Wano arc has been based off of. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know for any level of certainty. As for the Seven Warlords, excuse me. As for the Seven Warlords being abolished, this is something I had heard about, but I didn't know if it was actually real or if it was just something like someone was talking about the possibility of. Um, I heard it so quickly. Basically, I saw something super briefly about it on social media. I don't even remember if it was Facebook or Twitter or something or whatever, but it was so brief that it's like I had no context for it. And I didn't know like if it was just like, okay, this is a theory or this has actually happened or whatnot. Um, so I didn't really think too much about it because I again didn't know if it was real or not. But now I know that I know it is. I don't necessarily disagree with their decision to abolish the Seven Warlords system, but at the same time, it's as it said in the episode. This like throws everything off balance and is going to change a lot with how just everything works in the world. Um, so I'm wondering like the big long term effects this is going to have going forward. Um, Much less than just the former warlords now being gone after. So yeah, and then Big News Morgans was trying to cover something up, and we don't know exactly what that was. We don't know if that was the news about Sabo or if that was something else. Um, we don't know. It's like we got all of these hints of information in this between acts episode, and none of it was really like expanded upon to the highest amount. Nothing was really like heavily given all the information for, and I feel like they've been doing that. Like we had a little bit of the Reverie during the Reverie arc prior to Act 1, then we had some between Acts 1 and 2, and now we're having between Acts 2 and 3. Is that just how they're gonna? Is this just how Oda's like giving us this information? Because that's a weird way to do it. I don't see why they couldn't have done this all during the Reverie arc. Why couldn't the Reverie arc just have been expanded a little more and had all this information happen then? Why does it have to happen between the different acts of the Wano arc? Did Oda just want to like have some kind of like little breather between acts? I don't know. It just seems like a weird idea to me. Especially considering the Reverie arc didn't even include anything of the actual Reverie. So, yeah. But let's talk about the episodes, the 3 episodes of the actual end of Act 2 of Wano. So, basically, it's all still build up to the actual raid. Everyone's getting ready, and there's only a couple big notable things that happen. One, Law defeats Basil Hawkins and escapes, and is presumably on his way to meet up with everyone. And we find out that Basil Hawkins only joined Kaido out of necessity when he and Eustace Kid were aligned with Scratchman and Apu. They found out that Apu was secretly aligned with Kaido, and they were given the choice to do so or not. Hawkins chose to align, while Kid and well Killer as well chose to refuse, and that's why what happened with Kid and Killer happened with them. So that's a little interesting bit of information. We even got the arrival of Scratchman of Who. We see that Orochi seems to know about the change in the ports and that the raid is still going on, meaning that there has got to be an informant. Someone on our hero's side is feeding information to Orochi. There's a traitor in the midst, basically. I don't know who I would think it would be, though. It's obviously not going to be Kinemon. Like, he's the most trustworthy there. I don't think it's going to be Kiku either. I just don't see that being the case with what we've gotten from her character. Same with Shinobu. So kind of, I don't think it's Kawamatsu just because of the stuff we've gotten with him and Hiyori, though that would be an interesting twist. So I'm kind of left between. It's not Dogstorm for sure. I'm kind of left between Raizo and I cannot think of his name. The art guy. I can't think of his name right now for some reason. But Raizo and him. I could see it being Raizo. I don't know why, but I just for some reason can see it being him. And the other guy whose name again I cannot think of at the moment. I could probably look it up. I just have to look up Ryunosuke. That's an easy way to find it without looking up spoilers or anything, because it'll just tell me who made Ryunosuke. Kanjuro, that's his name. Yeah. So I'm thinking it's either between Raizo and Kanjuro, if it has to be one of them, but I don't know who else it would be. Could it be Tenguyama? That would be an interesting out of nowhere twist. But if it's got to be one of the samurai, I'm leaning between Kanjuro and Raizo. They're the only ones I could possibly see doing it, and honestly, I think it's more likely to be Raizo. Kanjuro, based on what we've seen from him and even heard from his inner thoughts and stuff, he seems way too loyal. Plus, he's been with us for a lot longer. I think he's pretty safe too. So I'm thinking it's Raizo. I think he's my main suspect right now. If it is Tenguyama, that would be insane though, especially considering he did give Enma to Zoro. Um, and I'll get on that in a second. But yeah, someone is feeding information. That much we know for sure. I just have no clue if it is Raizo or if it's someone else I'm just not considering at all. I don't know. Watch it end up being Wanda or something. That would be a twist. Um, but anyway. Uh, so yeah, we find out some more about Kawamatsu and his time separated from Hiyori, and we find out that he met up with the fox companion of a former daimyo, and that together they protected the gravestones of the fallen samurai from people who wanted to steal the swords and sell them and everything. However, during a trip to the market where he was stealing food to feed himself and the fox, he ended up getting caught, and that's honestly not how I expected Kawamatsu was going to get arrested, but okay. And we find out that the fox had been staying there and protecting everything in his place for 13 years since. And that is who the monk was. That the entire time the monk was the fox. Which, like, okay, that's a fun twist. Um, and he kind of just pieced out after Kawamatsu's return and everything. Um, but Hiyori convinces Zoro not to give back, or rather to give back Shusui, Ryuma's famed legendary sword, and that in its place she will give him one of her father's swords, um, Enma, which Tenguyama had been holding on to, and gives to him. And Enma is powerful, not only very powerful, but seemingly excessively hard to control. We see just the amount of horrifying power it has, but also the fact that it absorbs the user's haki and can actually like suck the life force out of their body, and it's horrifying. But Zoro manages to start gaining control over it. Luffy masters Ryuo haki, so there's that, which we knew he was going to. Um, and again, everything seems to be going well. The big thing I'm still stuck on though is who is the traitor. Someone is giving information to Orochi. Raizo's the only one that I can see being it. I don't know. It's just that almost makes me feel like it's not him because he's the only one I can actually see being the traitor. That almost makes me feel like it's not going to be him. Like it's going to be someone that I really don't suspect, like actually being Kinemon or Okiku or whatnot. That would be one hell of a twist. I won't argue. Um, but I was definitely right when I was predicting that Act 3 would start with the raid. So we definitely seem to be getting that, and I'm definitely excited to see that going forward. I feel like Act 2 ended at the right point too, like everybody heading out to get ready for the raid and everything. Everything just is really set up perfectly for that to start next act. Um, so this act definitely didn't end on as big of a note as Act 1 did. I thought it was going to end initially on like the fight between Kaido and Big Mom being resolved, but that was actually resolved really early on in these episodes. So all right, that happened, or I guess didn't happen. Um, but yeah, it's like everyone now knows Hiyori is alive, including Momo. It's just like there's so much to think about here, so much to consider going in. The fact that Orochi does know about this, though, kind of leads me to believe that this raid is not going to go well. Not only just because Orochi knows about it, but I feel like it's going to be a trap. They're going to lure our heroes into a trap, and it's going to go poorly, and things are not going to end well with it. I don't necessarily think anyone's going to die. I think they're going to manage to escape, but it's going to be super close. Something's going to happen though, like someone's going to get hurt or captured, and that's going to really put a damper on things. And I don't know where we're going to go out after that. Now the opening does still show a lot of stuff with like Roger and a younger Whitebeard, so maybe we're going to get some history with them. um Maybe we're going to like have like some flashbacks, which is wild to think about. Like we're gonna get actual like bigger flashbacks with Roger. Maybe that would be interesting. Um, Maybe it'll all even connect to Odin in some way. because we still haven't gotten a lot of flashbacks with Odin that like really like showcase him. Like the flashbacks we've seen seem to showcase other characters, such as Yasui. Um, but maybe that's going to be what is going on here. I don't know. I don't know what to expect going forward because the opening, again, it gives us little hints of things to come, but I don't know. I'm excited though. I'm definitely excited to get into Act 3, and we're almost caught up. We're going to be catching up pretty soon. So, like I've said before, once we do, it's just going to be the one episode a week thing, as with most shows, especially any shows we react to that are currently ongoing. So I'm excited to get to that point because I haven't been caught up with this series in a long ass time. Like I think the last time I was actually caught up when I was actually watching week by week was early Dressrosa. Like right when Dressrosa was beginning. And then I ended up getting really behind again. And I definitely got really behind after Dressrosa. After Dressrosa, I really kind of dropped the ball on all of that. So and that's why I've been so behind, and that's why we've had to play catch up, honestly. But yeah, there's just so many questions and so many loose threads being dangled over us right now that we just need to unravel, both in the between episode there, as well as everything leading up to this raid. Hopefully, hopefully it continues to be entertaining. Hopefully, Act 3 ends up being as good, if not better, than Act 2 or Acts 1 and 2. And we shall continue onward. So, thank you all so much for tuning in. Tell me your thoughts on these last 3 episodes of Act 2, as well as the kind of in between episode we got, with a lot of partial information in it. No spoilers for the future. As always, do not tell me anything that's about to happen. Do not even confirm if I'm right or wrong about predictions or whatnot. Just tell me your general thoughts at this as of this point. And thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.